Hey guys, Joe Trident Fly Fishing, and today we're going to be tying a super effective still water pattern. We're going to tie a balanced leech. The major advantage to this is that when it's in the water, it's going to be level and look very realistic. The best way to fish these things is suspend them at a specific distance with an indicator. You can also strip them, but I think they really come into their own, especially with a little chop on a still water. Suspend it at a distance and you can just keep that thing in the strike zone all day. We're gonna get started on it right now. So in the vise today, I have an Ahrex PR 374 90-degree jig streamer hook. This is a size 4. This is a good trout size here. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put a tungsten bead in front of this to balance it. For suspending this or getting that balance, you can use a couple different shanks. You can buy, I see guys do it with brad nails, I see guys do it with cut hooks. Today, for simplicity and because I have a bunch of them, we're going to tie it on a Umpqua U series 20mm trout shank. Super simple. They're easy, you don't have to make anything and they go right on. So we get started with this by putting a little bit of a thread base down so our shank here won't slip on the hook. So just doesn't matter, just get it on there and then we'll bring it back up and get rid of our tag. So this is the important thing. I tie these a lot. I have a pretty good idea of where this needs to be insofar as balancing this, and it's roughly a bead and a half to 2 beads in front of this hook. So what I'm going to do is attach this, and then I'll show you how, if you didn't have the measurement, you could take a quick measurement and figure out where you need to be. So just get that on there, throw a whip finish. And then what I like to do here is rotate this around. I'll just use a bodkin. And we'll see where we need to be. And you see, right about there is balanced. So put that back in the vise and get going on this fly. Hey guys, just wanted to pop in and let you guys know that we are a full service fly shop, and all of these videos are brought to you and supported by you purchasing all of your fly tying and fly fishing materials at tridentflyfishing.com. So just going to restart our thread here, and we will make sure that this little shank is covered up and not going anywhere. The nice thing is this whole body is going to be covered up, so we will not see any of this thread. Just don't have to make it pretty. So the next thing I'm going to do is tie on my tail. It's going to be just like a bugger. We're just going to tie in a single piece of marabou, and I have marabou in olive or light olive here, whatever matches the color of your fly. So I've gone ahead and I've broken the tip off here, and I'm just going to tie this in right where my shank ends. And my measurement can change, but for the sake of this fly, it's going to be roughly roughly the total length of this whole thing here. So I'm just going to tie this in right behind my shank where that ends. Just come on top and then bring it back. And then what we'll do here is twist this up, trim that off, and then cover up our butt. And that looks pretty good to me. The next thing we're going to tie in is a piece of Flashabou in gold. I'm just going to double it up, fold it over my thread, and place 2 pieces on that side, pull it over, and we'll place 2 more on the other side. So just pull them where you need them, bring them back, and tie them down. Trim that to length, roughly the length of the tail, maybe a little longer. Then you have 2 pieces of Flashabou on either side of the tail. Cool. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create the body of the fly, and we're going to do that with a dubbing brush. I'm going to show you guys how I make my dubbing brushes and the blend I'm using here. So I'm just going to create my loop, doubling it over. This is about 5 inches or so. 1, 2, 3, around that, and then we'll bring it back a little bit. I like to leave a little bit of space so I don't have to put dubbing way up here. And then when I wrap back, there's not a lot of material in the way. So we're just going to bring our thread all the way up to our tie-off point, which is going to be behind this bead. And we'll leave that there. All right, so my dubbing blend, the main material I'm going to use is this trilobal olive leech or olive black leech blend. So I'm going to pull out a good amount of this, you know, just a good sized chunk. And then for my flash, I'm going to use this Ice Wing in pearl yellow. So I'm just going to grab a good amount of that. You could change up how much flash you want in here. And I'm going to pull this, and as I pull this, I'm going to break these fibers a little bit. I don't want them super, super long, but I want them longer than my trilobal here. And then once I have that mixed pretty well, I'm going to grab some Diamond Bright. This is Spirit River Diamond Bright in a brown. It's probably in UV brown. You can see the UV is mixed in. This is going to be my shortest fiber, and it's kind of going to give a little bit of contrast, but it's also going to be a binding material for when I create my dubbing loop. So I'm just going to mix that in there, and you know, just mix it in your hand here just by pulling it apart and laying the fibers together. You can just keep going and just mix this until it's one complete mix here. So that, you know, looks pretty good. Like I said, we're going to throw this in a dubbing loop and we're going to pick it out at the end. So if it's a little bit clumped up, we'll pick it out with our brush and it should work fine. So that's pretty much it. That's about as much as we need here for this size 4 hook. And there it is. So now that we have our dubbing material here for our brush created, I'm just going to spread it out in my hand so we don't get a lot of material all mixed up together, and get the correct density here. And then I'm just going to feed this into my loop, hold that there, and then I'm going to find my dubbing tool, which is right here. I'm just going to use a Dr. Slick 2-inch dubbing twister. And then once it's in here and I have a little bit of tension, you can kind of play around with it and move it around a bit. I don't think it's hypercritical. We're going to hit this with a dubbing brush anyway. So where it is, right in the middle, more or less spread out a little bit, this is pretty good. So I'm going to pinch here, twist my tool, twist it a whole bunch, and then I'll start to twist this by pulling down, and it should just go. I don't want to go too tight. I don't want to break my thread. I'm using UTC 140 in a brown color. Not the strongest thread in the world, so I don't want to go and put too much tension. I'm just going to pick this out a tiny, tiny bit, just so it wraps a little bit better. I honestly don't even think this is necessary, as we're going to pick it out pretty hard when we are done wrapping this. Okay, so you'll see we have our little gap here where I didn't put any material. So we'll just get wrapping, and we're right here at the back of our tail, and then I'll wrap this by hand the rest of the way. So just stroking stuff back. Again, I don't even think that's necessary, as we're gonna hit, oops, dropped it. We're gonna hit this pretty hard with the brush. It's just almost touching, not too tight. You can vary up the density here. I don't like them too dense, but you know, your mileage may vary here. Just keep going up, and then around the eye of the hook, and then onto our shank. So at this point, I do like to create a denser area up front, especially where our bead is not seated at all. So I'm going to use this dubbing brush to kind of pin that bead up at the eye. So I think I can jam in one more wrap potentially here, and that looks pretty good to me. So we got a really good length on our dubbing brush there. It's just a wrap in front. We'll get rid of this. I'll take some more wraps here just to make sure everything is secure. And why not? So I'm just going to whip finish here, and we're almost done. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you're notified of all of our future fly tying videos. That way you don't miss any. So after whip finish, we'll get rid of that. And then I have this really great tool from Dr. Slick. It's just their dubbing brush, but it's got brushes on this side, and then this really aggressive brush. So what I like to do is hit it with the Velcro. You can see it's super matted. And then I'll come in here with this aggressive side and really pick that out. I think I have more material than I need here, but you'll see we'll lose a good amount of it, which is kind of what we want. And you'll see I do have a denser area up front, which is actually going to help this thing swim if you do strip it. And, you know, that looks pretty good to me. That's pretty much it, guys. You can pick these out a little bit more, change up the colors, change up your dubbing brush or material here. But super effective. Like I said, hang this thing under an indicator, suspend it at the correct height here, and you should be good to go. Super effective. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.